Hey everyone, nice to see you here again. Today I want to show an update on my Unity project. I just want to show some of the new features that I created, like just some of the progress that's been made since last time. When I posted last time, the game was pretty much just a bunch of screens in terms of code. And it's pretty crazy how far I've come, since that video. Like now that I compare the progress, feels really good to see, like how well things are progressing. There's still quite a lot of work to do, but I think it's starting to take shape. So I'm just gonna go straight into, like what the game is right now, and then I'm gonna show how I created some of these new features. I'm not gonna break down, like a how-to, but I'm just gonna give a background information on how I'm building things, because that will help you to see these things as a game developer, like not just as an artist. So without further ado, let's just get started. So the main menu is super much the same. I just added some, like some art because it was black before, just a black background. Wasn't very engaging, so makes it look a bit more real. I changed the cursor. I started doing some work on that. Like these little things that give a game a distinctive feeling. But yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but just made some progress. Now when you hit new game, you start in the main map. Since last time, I've been working on a few different systems that I'm gonna showcase today. So one of them is the interaction system, which is like how are you gonna open doors and use items, like all that stuff. And the other system that I've been working on is the lighting manager, to switch between different light scenarios. For now, I had to switch the lighting system in the game. So I'm actually using the screen space GI now. Because I was baking with the light probes before, adaptive light probes, but it's kind of an annoying workflow for the stage that I am in the project to have to bake, like the separate scenarios. So for now, I'm just using the screen space GI, and I think it works pretty well. It's of course not the same level as Lumen, but if you pay attention, like you're not gonna see noise. It's very stable. And this is one of the main things that I really like on Unity, is like how the graphics look clear and sharp. There is very little shimmering, like you don't see this kind of visual artifacts that I think they're very common in Unreal. Yeah, so how the interaction system works right now. This is a very first version of the system, I'm gonna evolve this over time. I'm using as a reference, as I mentioned in the last video, like old school point and click adventure games like King's Quest. Beautiful game. And in these games, for those that never play those games, they have a bunch of different options that you can choose. So a lot of the modern games now, it's like, you click on something and then an interaction happens. So I want to have a bit more depth. I want to experiment, see if it works. So right now I have 3 different kinds of interactions, and you can swap using the right mouse click. And like, please ignore the art. This is not meant to, it's just there. I just needed something. So you can look, you can use, and you can talk. And this will probably not stay like this, but for now it's a good test. And I already implemented the 3 different interactions. So for example, if we talk to the door, it says, I talk to the door, but no one answers. And if I switch this to look, and then it's a different message, this door looks really old. And if I use, and then I enter. And yeah, here's just a quick interior that I was working on that's still not ready for prime time. But yeah, so I'm still playing with the system. I'm not sure like how well it's gonna work, but I like the depth, because I can add a lot of interactions in the map, like for example, if you look at the flowers, there could be some cool text. Or if you try to use the trees, I could have an effect like on Animal Crossing when you shake the tree and the leaves fall off and fruits fall randomly. There's a lot of cool interactions that can be created like this very easily. So that's it for the interaction system. You know, it's still pretty basic, but I already started to create some different interactions that I can reuse modularly. And the other thing that you notice here is the text box. So this was a pretty cool system to develop too. It's still very early. I need to add multi-page support because I want to have this little icon on the bottom right, you know, like flashing like you know, of like Final Fantasy or like any kind of RPG. But one like really silly thing that I was experimenting here is like, oh, what if you look up, the text box is gonna be on top, but if you look down, the text box is gonna be on bottom, and if you look in the middle, it's in center. So I don't know, just something that I thought that, oh, maybe enhances the feeling that you're looking up and enhances the feeling that you're looking down. But honestly, I need to try this in VR, see how it feels, because it's been a while since I've run the game in VR, and I know I'm probably gonna have to do quite some work to get this UI to work properly. But I'm also using the text animator asset from Asset Store to do the text animation. Right now it's a little too fast, but this was a pretty cool asset because it handles all the animation that is not so hard to program, but if you want to have all the different effects, you know, it takes a long time. So this is a really cool framework that handles this kind of animation. And the other thing that I worked hard since last time was the lighting scenario manager, right? Which is I think is the coolest feature I'm gonna show today. So basically I want to have different lighting scenarios in the game. And this is not gonna be a day and night cycle kind of thing. It's more like as you progress in the story, in the narrative, the time advances. So I'm gonna advance this time at specific places in the narrative. I am, as the game designer, I'm gonna have control of, oh, this time is gonna be like this time is gonna be like that. So to do this, I had to create the system with the different lighting settings. So for example, I have a day, afternoon, and night for now. Okay, so I think it's easier if I just show how it looks like. So right now I have it hooked up to a hotkey, and when I press the hotkey, it's gonna fade, and then it shows the sky, the transition, and then it goes back to the map. So now we are in the afternoon version of the map. And this was a feature that I've had in mind for a really long time when I was using Unreal, and I really couldn't figure this out in my mind, you know, like how to set it up in Unreal. But in Unity, I'm not joking, like I was able to implement the system in 2 hours. Like it was very easy. And it also turns on the lights. You see at night, it turns on the windows, the light's a little dark now, the emissive's a little weak, I need to crank that up. But it also, it also works when I go inside, for example. So you see like it's persistent, like I have a place where I'm keeping track of this, and it should work in every map. And also, when it's night version, I have a layer of objects that can be turned on and off. So let's go back outside. Actually, I'm going to turn it. This is a really cool effect. So imagine that that's how I imagine this transition is gonna happen in the game. Like imagine that you as a player are doing some puzzles here and you figure out, you know, like you advance in the story. So now when you use the door to go outside, let's say you click to go outside, and then I would show the transition to give a sense of passing of time. I still don't know how this is gonna work in practice, but I think it should give a pretty cool feeling of progress. You know, at least it gives you a feedback that you're going the right direction. Like if the lighting is not advancing, it means that you still have to do something there. And here I was just quick experiment with the refraction shader. It looks pretty cool, like from the outside. Looking inside, looks pretty immersive. So let's go to the main map. Like look, this just setting up the lighting, you know, like with the physical values, it feels so good. So I go outside and now it's night. So this gives so much immersion to the environment, I think, you know, like these different scenarios, and look how different it feels now. And the next step for this system is to start implementing the sound work. So at night, I might have some cicadas, you know, like in the morning, maybe you hear sounds of people, you know, it's louder. So that's really gonna help make this feel like a real place. It's on the wish list now, but I wanna try maybe having a storm as well. I don't know if I'm gonna have full rain, but maybe some cloudy scenario. And actually, I am trying with a system right now that it's not 100%, but it works kind of cool, which every time I change the lighting scenario, it randomizes the cloud cover. So let's see. So you see, like now it's more cloudy than when you enter the map. So let's do this a few times, and then you're gonna see that it creates some variation. So you see, like now it's like light clouds, and they see like the night looks different now. There's less clouds. I used to have a version of the day. You see, like look much lighter now. I used to have a version of the day with heavier clouds, but that was creating problems with the fog, so I turned that off for now. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to see, you know, this lighting changing like this and seeing the environment in different situations. Just feels much more immersive and believable. So the same map, you know, with different looks. And of course, this system will also work for all the other maps I make. So it's I think it's a huge win in terms of making this feel like a real game. So let's go to Unity, and I'm gonna show some of the things on the backstage that are happening here. So I'm gonna open my town level, and as I mentioned in the previous video, I want to have very little manual setup in the map itself. So right now, each map needs to have this level director script. This is the one that I showed in the previous video. And this one basically handles, you know, like the camera animation when you enter the level. It handles the spawn points, keeping track, because I have, you know, different spawn points. For so for example, this is where the game starts. It's one spawn here. This is another one when you go outside the apartment, and one for the church, but I don't have the interior of the church yet. So this level director handles all this stuff, and it's where I'm plugging the code that needs to be required for the map. And the other element is this prefab, the lighting manager. And right now I'm placing by hand, but then once the system is fully fleshed out, it will be just spawned in the map. And this one handles the lighting, all the lighting stuff. So it has a few elements, and the first one is the lighting manager, and this is where I keep track of the different lighting scenarios. And the lighting scenarios are just, for now, they're just normal prefabs. So for example, I have the day here, and it contains the sun and the post-process volume. And the post-process volume handles the sky, exposure, the fog, the clouds, some post-processing if I need to do, and the white balance. So this is all handled by the post-process, and the other value is the sun. And if I, for example, if I turn this off and I turn on the evening, you know, that's just a different prefab. When I do this, I need to reload the map because it needs to rebake those probes. And so that's how easy it is for me to working in the map and trying the different lighting scenarios, because I can just turn off here, save, and reload the map. And that's a very accurate representation of how this is gonna look like. And some other things that the lighting manager is handling is the reflection probes. So this is something that took me some time to figure out how to do it, because when you use Lumen in a reel, you know, you don't have to worry about the reflection probes anymore. But the way that I'm building this, the reflections are baked, but because the lighting is changing, I can't have pre-baked probes. They need to be baked in runtime. But this creates a little problem because if for example, so the mode of the probe is real-time, and the real-time mode, if I put on every frame, this probe is gonna refresh every frame, and this is extremely expensive in terms of render. When you put on enable, this probe will be baked when you open the level. So when I switch the lighting scenario, it's not going to bake because I'm not changing the map. So to do that, it needs to be on demand. So on demand means that the code will tell that probe to update, to refresh. But this created a problem too, because if I have the probe in on demand, there is no way to bake in the editor. So what I did is I set the probes to on enable, all of them. And in the lighting manager, the reflection probes manager, look, very simple code. Look how much, I had to write like just a few lines of code. But what this script does is it looks for all the probes in the level and creates an array, which is a list of probes. And then it changes the settings on each probe to the ones that I need for the game, which is real-time and on-demand. And then it executes. Because I have this function here, execute, I can call this. So when I change the lighting scenario, the lighting scenario manager just tells this to execute, you know? So I hope that made sense. I don't want to drag too long on this explanation, but and the other script here is the randomized cloud cover. So look how cool it is to build things using this pattern on Unity, where you're composing the behaviors, you know? So I wanted to experiment with each time the lighting scenario changes, the game randomizes the cloud cover. So I just had to write this separate script that handles this. This one has a bit more code because I had to do some random calculations, you know. So there's more day versions and less stormy versions, because if I just use random, it doesn't feel very good. And I can show you how that looks like. So if I do this, I'm gonna put this for the other layer too. So now it's gonna randomize the other cloud layer, and you see that it will get pretty crazy sometimes. And you see, like, I already see the extreme variation, but look how cool this looks. Just with the clouds, like it already feels pretty good. So like with this, I could just increase the wind on the trees, you know, and maybe have some effects and the audio and stuff. And yeah, let's see what else we get when we change. It's very fun to play with this system, and you know, and see all the variations you can get just by changing like a few parameters here and there. Oh, I got another cloudy version. So you see, that's why I have that code, because when you're using randomization, you need to have some curves, you know, like you don't want to have things that are purely random, because you lose a lot of control. I wonder if there's anything else I can show. I think that covers, you know, like most of the updates for now. And from here, I need to improve the save system, a system that needs a lot of rework to be more scalable. And I'm gonna start working on more interactions, and hopefully I'll be done with this by the end of March, or halfway through March. I think end of March is a realistic time. That's when I want to start going deep into the content creation. Before I go, I just remember there is this system that I want to show to. So I created the graphics option prefab, and this handles, you know, like just turning like bloom like on and off, like all that stuff. And actually in the editor I had the screen space GI turned off right now. So here I can see how the game's gonna look like with the GI on and off. And I already have the code to toggle this on and off. And I just need to hook it up to the menu. And I can show you the code already works if I go to the variables. And they are here. So The bloom is not going to be very visible now, but let's try the screen space GI. So when I disable or enable this file here, you know, the system knows what to do. So when I create the menu, all I have to do is just toggle this file. So you can turn the AO on and off, the chromatic aberration, which is something that a lot of people don't like, but I kind of like how it looks here. The bloom is not gonna look any difference here. The screen space reflections as well, and the lens flares. So this is just a way to make the game support more hardware, because the screen space GI is actually pretty expensive in terms of render. And I can show this. So right now it's off. And the render thread 3.5. So if I turn this off, it goes to like 3.2, 3.1. Let's look at the milliseconds here. So right now it's without the screen space GI, it's running at like 9 milliseconds, and I turn on, and you see it increases almost 1 millisecond. And because I have a good graphics card, this doesn't make such a big difference. But if I was running the game on my old hardware, turning on the screen space GI means losing 30 frames per second or something like this. So I want to have all these options, you know, available, so people with weaker hardware, they can still enjoy the game, and people with the better equipment, you know, they can really crank up the settings. And also this gives them a chance to include ray tracing as well, which is something that I experimented before, but the performance was really bad. So with this system, I can also support that, you know, like for the people that have really high-end hardware. So that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm having a blast working on this game, and let me know in the comments if there are any requests that you would like to see for new videos, or if you have any comments, suggestions about the game, you know, like ideas as well, like, oh, I have this game that I really like, that I think, you know, has some cool idea. Let me know. I'm all open ears. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you're looking to step up your environment art skills, I invite you to check my environment art creation course, Environment Art Mastery. This is a massive course that took me more than 2 years to put together, and contains everything that I learned about environment art creation after more than a decade in the games industry. The course contains everything you need to know to be able to come up with your own ideas and take them to completion by using an easy-to-follow process that breaks down the creative process in logic steps. This process can be used to create all kinds of environments, no matter the style, theme, or engine. If you want to know more, visit environmentartmastery.com or watch the deep dive video in my channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.